Beep, beep, beep. Welcome, folks. Exciting week coming up. We have, of course, the LGBT Alliance conference, as well as the Battle of Ideas, which I should be at both, and I know that many of us will. Yeah, tis be fun. So I'm at that balloon event I told you about before. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Looking forward to catching up with Claire Fox and a few of the others. So that'll be quite interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of movement in the near future. That we've seen a sort of move starting, really, haven't we? There's been rumblings from the Labour conference. I listened to Dennis and Clive's Queen's Speech episode, in which they talked about the attendance of Dennis and Mr. Menno at the Labour Party conference, and how they were approached by a number of people in Labour saying, "Listen, guys, we get it. We're just not quite there yet." And I thought that was quite interesting. But I know that Dennis and Clive and I veer from Dennis and Clive's position quite strongly, not because I'm an abject supporter of the Conservatives. I'm not. I would say that from a social point of view, I'm fairly liberal, but from an economic point of view, I'm fairly right. So I don't mean right as in I'm right, I mean right wing, right? Okay. So the political aspects of this, which are downstream of the fight we have, which is cultural, are going to get interesting in the next few months, because we just see what's happened in New Zealand. Australia's done some good stuff as well. And I think it's worth us taking a moment to pause and think about what's actually happened in the past, because it is going to be the past that predicates what I hope will be most people's thoughtful evaluation of the situation we find ourselves in this country before they tick the box. That bothers me. I tell you, the whole thing bothers me, because we tend to tick the box out of fear, be it economic or social. It doesn't really matter which. You get there behind the curtain or whatever it is we do, and tick tick or poke with the holy thing, and you think to yourself, right, who's going to do X, Y, Z? And it tends to be a very selfish reasons, but of course it should be to a certain degree. What's going to be best for my family? What's going to be best for etc. My worry is the tendency to fealty for the left, when we know that it is the left who has been responsible, along with the Liberals, for most of the devastating problems we see within the sphere in which we're interested. So critical social justice. They're going to start celebrating George Floyd again now, aren't they? So Biden's gone and said, "Oh, happy birthday, George Floyd, you should be alive." It's beyond me that people are still falling for this. It really is beyond me that people are still falling for this. I said originally, BLM I knew within minutes, as did, other people. They were a scam, and they always were. 2 or 3 mansions. I don't think the family of George Floyd ever saw a penny of the money that was raised, along with other people. I don't think they've done that much for causes. Most people can't seem to find anything they've done. But yet they've got their 3 mansions and they sit there quaffing. Now, Candace Owens, who's a right-wing pundit, and who is not a friend to gay people, as far as I understand, has done a movie on this, where she attempted to get to the heart of BLM and find out what was going on. So we've got George Floyd's doofer coming up, haven't we? Happy birthday, George. How many people are going to do it? Or how many people will remain silent in their culpability of what they caused to happen in America particularly, but also in this country, in their slavish, unthinking, immediate knee-taking nonsense. Then we've got the problems of Israel and Hamas. This is a phenomenally difficult situation. It's not phenomenally difficult for anybody to condemn what Hamas did. They are a terrorist organisation akin to Nazis, and the sooner people get their head around that, the better. That is what they are, right? That is what they are, utter condemnation. And I was rather disgusted to see that the British Football Institution said it was complicated. And yet they had their young men, which is what they are, young men, they'll do as they're told generally, take the knee for BLM for months after it was exposed that they were grifters. They cannot bring themselves to light up the damned arch to support Israel. We are a nation confused. We are a nation confused. And we need a reassertion of who we are. When you see thousands upon thousands of supporters come out, they had pictures of the guy with the paragliding on their backs. Pictures of the guy with the paragliding on their backs. We've got a problem, and we have to face up to that problem. And I've been thinking about it an awful lot over the last few days, and I think it's possible for us to attain peace, but I think it is also possible for us to condemn with the utmost sincerity the dreadful behaviour of Hamas. They are Nazis. They are ISIS. It's that simple, and you need to get your head around it. Okay, So what happened to the Israeli people is unconscionable, and it is the worst attack upon Jewish people since the Holocaust, and we should see it for what it is. We should see it for what it is. Its supporters must be identified, and they must be captured and imprisoned. Now, you probably already know that one of the students' union leaders, I believe, from one of the universities, has been arrested under the Terrorism Act. I hope she gets 10 years. That should be the minimum. I also saw the picture of people tearing down the faces of missing Jewish people from various places in London. Who are these people? Find them, arrest them. Terrorism Act. We know that Hamas is a proscribed organisation. The inertia that I'm seeing from the police is quite extraordinary. But it may be that we're not seeing what's happening because the mainstream media aren't giving it to us. And I was having a conversation last night with a friend of mine who's a deeply intelligent man. And the both of us are at a loss. We're both men who want peace. We're both men who likes the idea of tolerance in the classic liberal sense. Right? But you can't tolerate the intolerable, and Hamas are the intolerable. They're the intolerable. We've had Jewish schools closing in Britain for fear for their safety. I don't care if you have to surround that school with soldiers. They open, right? They open. I don't care if you have to put a soldier on every door of every house and have that child escorted to school. They open. Arrest them, water cannon them. I don't care what you do with them. Arrest them and get it done. Get it done. I saw a great quote from Golda Meir. It's ironic. About 2 days before what happened, I was watching Golda with Helen Mirren. And the great quote was, if the Palestinians put down their guns, there would be peace. If the Israelis put down their guns, there would be a massacre. And that was Golda speaking many years ago about the situation. Is the situation the same now? I don't know. I don't understand it enough. I genuinely don't understand it enough. And I think more people could do with saying that. But I understand this. You do that type of behaviour and expect to be come for. They're going to come for you. And expect to be wheedled out and destroyed for the organisation of terror that you are. How did we get here? Well, that's a question that we need to ask ourselves as a country, and we need to ask ourselves as individuals as we move forward. I would say that my thoughts, and in conversation with my friend last night, my thoughts are that multiculturalism is an absolute failure, and the left liberal pact in terms of education is an absolute failure. And what we are seeing is the dismal decline of a system of educating and thinking, a system of interaction on the global stage, as well as in the smallest of classrooms, that has been based upon a liberal left pact. And in the last 70 years, we've now come to the end of that. And actually, we can see that multiculturalism and that left lib pact were a disaster. The question then becomes, what do we do about it? And that's a question far smarter people than I could probably answer, but I can give us a start. And I would say the first thing that we need to do is to recognise that we have lots of stuff that binds us as a country, and we need to assert what they are. And we need to ensure that people understand that if you live in the UK comes first. That's not too much to ask. The UK comes first. That's not too much to ask. Tolerance, science, the Enlightenment. All of the stuff that we know is the good stuff that got us where we are today in such luxury. So maybe, we'll see a change, but I don't think so. Some idiot will be going, BLM, poor old George, they'll be doing all that nonsense. They'll be doing all that else. The BLM, you saw thousands upon thousands of them on the street. Thousands. Right? But this last couple of weeks, we have to remember what happened, that the terrorist organisation Hamas committed one of the worst atrocities we've seen in a very, very long time. And on the back of that atrocity, there were people out who support Hamas, and blatantly doing so with signs on their coats and flags in their hands. Not Palestine. Not supporting people of Palestine, but supporting Hamas. And the police stood by and did nothing. Is that where we are? Mull on that. I'll see you later.